The National Broadcasting Company invites you by transcription to join The Chase. There is always the hunter and the hunted, the pursuer and the pursued. It may be the voice of authority, or a race with death and destruction, the most relentless of the hunters. There are times when laughter is heard as counterpoint, and moments when sheer terror is the theme. But always there is the chase.
It's still hard for me to understand exactly how it happened and why. Human nature has two sides, I know that. The civilized, intelligent side and the animal instincts that try to drag us in another direction. I guess there's a continual pursuit, a chase, with the evil always running after the good, trying to overwhelm it, trying to wipe it out of existence. And when the chase is lost, we're better off dead. We were happy in the beginning, Arnold and I. We both loved show business. You may have heard of us, the Stage Puppeteers. Since we married 8 years ago, we've played over half the world. Variety houses, nightclubs, one-ring circuses in Europe. Our act does best in Europe. And in spite of the fact that our French and German is limited, and we do practically all of the act in English, they can still follow the story with ease and get a lot of laughs out of it.
Now, if I can take off my shoes and sneak up the stairs before Katie wakes up, she'll never know I came in so late. Uh-oh. That must be Katie. She heard me come in.
Peter! Is that you, Peter?
Uh-oh!
Oh, midnight! You're just coming in. I'll fix you, Dumbo!
Oh, Katie, it's all a big mistake. I just came down for a glass of milk.
Oh, storyteller! I'll teach you to tell lies like that!
Oh!
Like that! Like that!
No, Katie!
The act was corny, but it went over big. He was the henpecked husband, and I was the misunderstood wife. We could have played it for years if Arnold hadn't changed it. Should have warned myself when it started. But how was I to recognize the symptoms? I'm no psychiatrist. And I couldn't forecast the horrible future that began one rainy night in Munich as we were leaving to play a date in Marseille. Oh, boy, it's simply miserable outside, raining rivers. Listen, honey, if we hurry, we may be able to get a bite to eat at the station before we take the train. Well, Arnold, you haven't even finished packing yet.
I know it.
But we've only got an hour, honey. Well, what's the matter, darling? Aren't you feeling well?
I'm all right, Irene.
Well, why are you running your hand over your head that way?
Just a mild headache, nothing important.
Well, then I'd better finish packing for you. Where are the rest of your things?
On the bed.
Okay. I've paid the hotel bill.
Irene.
Yes, dear?
Let's change the act.
Let's what?
I'm getting tired of the old routine. Let's do something different.
But we've been going so well, darling.
Well, I don't like the act, and that's final. I'm running this deal, and what I say goes.
Well, of course, Arnold, if you insist. There's no need to get angry.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's this headache of mine. It's getting me jumpy. Irene, I've got a great idea. We'll do something dramatic this time, something strong for a change.
Dramatic? I don't know. What do you have in mind?
I won't tell you. I want it to be a surprise. Wait till I get the puppets finished, and then you will understand exactly what I mean. It'll be sensational, Irene. Just wait and see.
Arnold was clever in more ways than one. He always carved out the puppets himself. He had a knack for painting on wood that gave them wonderful expressions. He worked hard for the next few weeks, staying up late every night to finish the puppets before we hit England. But he wouldn't let me see what he was doing until he just about finished, when he showed them to me aboard a boat train for London.
Well, they're almost finished, Irene.
Oh, the new puppets?
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess you're anxious to see them,
Well,
huh?
naturally, honey.
Wait a second. I have them in this canvas bag. How do you like this one?
Oh, Arnold. Oh, she's beautiful.
Oh, I worked hard over Zelda.
Zelda?
That's the name of the character you'll play. She's sweet, angelic, the essence of purity.
Oh.
She looks the part, doesn't she?
Oh, she's just like a lovely doll. Have you actually written the new act, too?
Mm-hmm. I've written your part, and I've memorized my own. The plot's basic. It's the age-old conflict between good and evil. It's actually going to be very simple. I want to play on the emotions the way they did in the old silent film days.
Well, what about your puppet, Arnold?
He's finished, too. You, want to see him?
Oh, naturally, silly.
All right. Here. Well?
I don't know what to say.
You don't like him?
No, it's not that I think you haven't done a fine job. You have. He's so realistic. Almost too realistic. I couldn't tell him what my reaction was when I saw that ugly thing he placed in my hand. The head resembled some kind of a goat. Only it wasn't a goat. It was supposed to be a human being. The ears were long and pointed at the ends, and the nostrils flared like an ape's. But it was the awful leer on its face that startled me the most. It was the vicious grin of a monster.
Don't speak up. Do you like it or don't you?
Of course I like it.
You don't sound very enthusiastic.
Well, it's only because it startled me for a moment.
Why?
Why?
Yes, why?
Well, it isn't a very pleasant-looking character, for one. Why are you laughing?
Oh, because you're so naive. Do you expect evil to look like a Greek god?
Is that what he represents? Evil?
Yes, all the evil in a man's heart. All his rotten impulses and his devilish moods.
But people aren't like that, Arnold.
Who said they aren't?
Well, you never used to think so.
Well, I think so now. But I rather like this werewolf I've created, and I think he'll be quite a fellow. I've named him Lucifer.
We were scheduled to break in the new act in a London variety show. And for the next few days, Arnold rehearsed me hour after hour. The story was a horrible one, although I didn't tell Arnold how I felt. It was some kind of an allegory about a marriage between good and evil, but Arnold had written it in a very peculiar way.
I know thee now for what thou art, Zelda.
Pray, what do you mean?
Thou art a faithless wife. The spirit of evil is within thee, too.
But I swear to you, Lucifer...
Oh, Arnold, this is just ridiculous.
Why,
What do you mean this is ridiculous?
Well, the story isn't right for puppets. And Elizabethan English. It's so silly. Puppets can't play Shakespeare.
How dare you criticize me like that? What do you know about a real artist, you...
Oh, Arnold. Arnold, what is it?
My head. I've got a splitting headache again.
Oh, well, honey, lie down.
No.
Arnold.
We're going on with this rehearsal, and you're going to play the part exactly as I've written it. Now, read the last line. I swear to you, Lucifer.
I swear to you, Lucifer, that I have done...
There was nothing I could do to talk him out of it. He seemed to be obsessed with this idea, and I couldn't argue. What I predicted in my own mind finally came to pass. We were laughed at and jeered at in town after town. And only the fact that we had our route booked in advance under contract prevented us from being canceled out completely.
thou art a faithless wife. The spirit of evil is within thee, too.
But I swear to you, Lucifer, that I...
Idiot! Shut Shut your mouths! Shut your mouths!
It went on that way for another few weeks until I could hardly stand it anymore. We were ruining our reputations, ruining our lives, and Arnold was changing more and more with each passing day. It was at that point that I met Elliot. He was a singer, and a very good one, too. Arnold and I were playing a week in Nottingham, a small variety house, and Elliot was on the same bill. He stopped by my dressing room before a performance one evening. Come in.
I beg your pardon, but I found this backstage near the wings. I think it's your bracelet, isn't it? I believe I saw you wearing it.
Oh, yes, it is mine. Thank you very much.
Not at all. I'm Elliot Cavendish.
Yes, I know. I caught your act yesterday. Awfully good.
Thank you. I saw your puppet show twice. You and your husband, I mean.
Did you like it?
Well,
Oh, you needn't apologize. I know how awful it is. Used to be good. Very good. Before Arnold changed it.
I must say in all sincerity that both you and your husband have a great deal of talent.
Arnold is very clever, isn't he? He's a wonderful mimic, too. He can imitate almost anybody's voice perfectly.
If it weren't for that ridiculous story you used... I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Well, it's true, and I agree with you. I don't know what's come over my husband. He used to be happy just to make people laugh. Now he thinks he's being deep and terribly dramatic. He is no...
Good evening.
Who are you?
Cavendish is the name. I'm on the bill with you.
Oh, yes, I've seen your act. It's pretty good.
Thank you. I just stopped by to return a trinket your wife lost. Well, getting on to be 7:30. We'll be on stage very shortly. I'd better get back to my room. Nice to have met you both.
Thank you so much for returning the bracelet.
Not at all. Cheerio.
What's the matter, Arnold?
He's rather good looking, isn't he?
I hadn't noticed.
No, you hadn't noticed. Not much you hadn't.
Arnold, please.
Listen, if I ever catch you fooling around with another man...
Arnold, my wrist.
Remember what I'm saying, Irene. Never forget it if you value your... Oh!
Arnold, what is it? Does your head ache again?
Never mind my head. Get ready to go on stage. We're on in 15 minutes.
He was ill. I'd known that for some time. But I didn't know how ill he really was. Then that night I got an inkling of things to come. A hint I should have taken immediately. It was at the end of the performance. The way the story usually wound up, Lucifer, my husband, left me forever. It was as flat as the rest of the play and left everybody in the air. But tonight, Arnold had another ending for me. And for the first time, I realized how Arnold's character and the character he had created were slowly becoming the same.
Then there is another, milady. Thou hast truly deserted me.
No, not really. Don't stare at me that way, Lucifer.
There is only one thing for me to do, Zelda.
What is it, Lucifer?
Kill thee.
What?
Zelda, I am going to kill thee.
Arnold, that isn't right.
You thought me a fool, but I will strangle thee with my own hands.
Arnold, what are you saying? That isn't in the script.
Faithless traitor, I'll...
Arnold,
Ring down the curtain quickly.
hello.
I thought I'd stop by your dressing room and see if everything was under control.
Why, there's nothing to be concerned about, Mr. Cavendish.
How is your husband?
He's resting quietly.
What happened out there on the stage?
Well, he just fainted.
I know that, but before, his lines weren't the same as they'd been. There was nothing in your act about killing when I first heard
Oh, well,
it.
that was just a mistake. I think I'd better return to my husband. Thank you for stopping by.
If there's anything I can do at any time, please don't hesitate to call on me.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Good night.
Who was that?
Oh, Just somebody who stopped by to see how you were.
It was Cavendish, wasn't it?
Yes. Are you feeling better now, Arnold?
I'm quite all right.
Arnold, we can't go on this way.
What do you mean?
Arnold, I want you to see a doctor.
A doctor? What for?
Well, something is happening to you, to your personality, and it frightens me.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. There's nothing wrong.
You act like a man who's being pursued by some horrible fixation. It's that puppet you created. It's done something to you.
Lucifer? Why, Lucifer's my friend. Here, aren't you, Lucifer?
Your greatest friend,
Arnold,
sir.
don't do things like that. Don't talk to that awful puppet as if he was human.
Now, look, you're just being childish. Well, I'm all right, dear. I assure you I am. We'll go along the way we have been, and we'll click one of these days.
Please, Arnold, please, let's go back to the old act and get rid of those new puppets.
No, the act stays as it is, and that's final. Right, Lucifer?
Right, sir.
I don't know how I managed to get through the next few weeks, but I did. I think Elliot Cavendish had a lot to do with it. He was booked with us until the end of our British tour, and I couldn't help seeing a lot of him between performances.
Irene,
Oh, hello, Elliot.
taking a bit of a stroll?
Yes, I thought I'd look around. Such a charming old English town.
Mind if I walk along with you?
Oh, of course not.
How are things?
All right.
Arnold feeling better these days?
Oh, much better. Hasn't forgotten his lines anymore, the way he did that night in Nottingham.
But I don't suppose he has any intention of changing your act.
No, he likes it the way it is. We heard from our agent in London. He said he was unable to get us any further bookings after we played Edinburgh.
That's next week.
Yes.
Then what will you do?
Go back home, I suppose, to the States.
Perhaps I haven't any right to say this. We've known each other for such a short time. But I think you ought to get away from your husband.
What do you mean, get away from him?
He's a dangerous man, Irene. He's obsessed by something. He's like a man who's trying to escape from some dreadful calamity that's overtaken him.
Don't say any more, Elliot, please. I don't like that kind of talk.
And you won't like this either. But I happen to be in love with you.
Elliot...
I can't help it, Irene. I know it's an impossible situation, but at least I want to make certain that you're safe, that nothing happens to you.
If you don't mind, I'm going back to my hotel.
You're angry with me?
No, not angry. I'm just a little bit tired. Now, please forgive me and let me go.
Whatever you say. But remember this, Irene. If you ever need help, if you ever need a friend, you can always come to me. Will you remember that?
Yes, I remember. Goodbye. I walked back to the hotel with my thoughts in a turmoil. Elliot was right. Arnold was becoming a dangerous man. He wasn't the person I married anymore. He was someone or something else. And it was emphasized once more with a shock as I reached the door to our room.
So you think she can't be trusted, Lucifer?
I'm sure of it.
And I'm beginning to agree with you.
I'm the only one they can trust. The only one who won't let thee down.
Yes, you are, Lucifer, my friend.
And if I were thee...
Oh.
Arnold? Who are you talking to just now?
No one.
Well, I heard two voices. One was yours, and the other...
You heard nothing, absolutely nothing. Do you understand
yes,
that?
oh, please, let go of my arm, Arnold.
Where have you been, Irene?
I was just taking a walk.
Alone?
Yes.
Don't lie to me. You were with Cavendish.
Well, I met him on the street, Arnold.
You're never to see him again. Do you understand?
Arnold.
Never. I warn you, if you do, we'll take care of you.
We?
Lucifer and I.
I slept restlessly. My dreams were frightening, but as I turned and tossed in my sleep, some sixth sense must have warned me that I was in danger. I suddenly awoke, my heart beating wildly, and listened. I heard nothing for a moment, and saw nothing. The shaft of bright moonlight streaming in through the window. Then someone moved across the beam and paused, and I heard him speak.
Do you think the time is ripe, Lucifer?
Now is as good a time as any.
How shall we manage it?
Merely put thy hands around her throat and squeeze.
How, Lucifer?
Like this.
Arnold, no! No!
I screamed as his fingers touched my throat. It was not only because of what Arnold was about to do. It was what I saw in his face, his once handsome face, that had suddenly changed and become goat-like and cruel, just as Lucifer's was.
Irene,
May I come in, Elliot?
please. What's happened? You look as pale as death.
You said I could come to you if I needed help. Well, I'm here, Elliot.
Arnold,
Yes.
what did he do?
He tried to kill me last night. It was horrible. I woke up and found him leaning over me with his hands on my throat.
Great Scott.
It wasn't only that. It was his face, Elliot. He looked just like Lucifer the puppet. It was terrifying.
Where is he now?
I don't know. He ran out of the hotel room after I screamed. I dressed and left. I walked till dawn alone on the street and then decided to come here to you.
We must call the police.
No, I couldn't. I loved him once. I can't forget that. Just take me away from here, Elliot.
We'll go to London tonight. You can file a suit for separation.
Separation?
You've got to leave him once and for all.
Yes, I know that now. All right, Elliot. I'll do exactly as you say. But I found out very soon that it wouldn't be as easy as that to escape. I managed to get a small hotel room near Elliot's London flat. I waited there for several days while Elliot consulted an attorney. Hello?
Is it thee, Zelda?
Who is this speaking?
Why don't you recognize my voice?
Arnold.
This is Lucifer, my dear.
Arnold, for heaven's sakes, don't speak in that puppet's voice. I can't stand it.
So you thought you could run away from us, did you?
Arnold.
You believed you could outwit me. But that's impossible, Zelda, quite impossible. No matter whither thou goest, I'll follow. I'll chase thee to the ends of the earth if necessary. Do I make myself clear? To the ends of the earth for my revenge.
Oh.
Irene, I've seen the chap and...
He followed us, Elliot.
Arnold?
He's come here to kill us both.
You saw him?
No, he called on the telephone. He used the voice of that awful puppet.
Did he say he was coming here?
Well, I hung up on him before he finished talking.
Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And let no one in until I return.
Well, where are you going?
To the police.
Oh, no, Elliot.
I have a feeling he'll show up here very shortly. At any rate, I'm going to ask the police for a bodyguard. Now, lock this door after I leave, Irene, and don't go out.
For the next 10 minutes, I sat in a chair in the center of the room. I could feel my heart miss a beat every time I heard footsteps in the hall. My hands felt like two pieces of ice. Then the phone rang once more. Hello?
Irene, this is Elliot here.
Oh, yes, Elliot.
I want you to meet me at this address immediately.
You mean leave the hotel room?
Yes, it's urgent. Take this down. 17 Sherwood Street. A cab will take you there.
17 Sherwood Street.
The flat on the top floor in the rear.
Top floor rear.
Will you hurry, my dear?
Yes, I'll be there right away. "17 Sherwood Street was in the heart of the old Limehouse district. And I couldn't imagine what Elliot was doing in a place like that as I stepped out of the cab. I was given the answer a few minutes later when I climbed the rickety stairs to the top floor rear.
Come in, my dear.
Arnold,
Surprised?
it was Elliot who called.
No, Irene, it wasn't Elliot. It was I, your loving husband. I'm afraid you've forgotten my genius for mimicry. I can reproduce any voice I wish, remember?
Arnold, you've got to try to reason things out.
Oh?
You're ill. I've told you that before. You need help.
Did you hear that, Lucifer? The lady says I need help.
I heard.
Arnold, don't you see what you're doing? Don't you see how insane it is to pretend a puppet is alive?
I only see that my wife has deserted me for another man. That the woman I believed in has become a liar and a cheat.
No, Arnold. That's not true. There's nothing between Elliot and me. You've got to believe that. He only wanted to help me.
Help you do what?
Help me.
Run away from me? Desert me?
You drove me to it. You forced me to leave you.
Did I?
How could I stay after that dreadful night?
Are you listening, Lucifer?
Apparently she suffered because of the...
Apparently.
Then it's time to relieve her of that suffering.
Arnold.
It will be simple, my dear.
We'll make it as painless as possible.
Oh, don't touch me.
You're going to die, Zelda.
Not before you will.
Put Lucifer down. Put him down, I say.
I'm going to destroy this piece of what once and...
No, let me go. Let me go.
Oh, what have you done to Lucifer?
I've smashed him to pieces, Arnold. He doesn't exist anymore. Do you understand? He's gone.
My head. Irene, my head.
They took him away a little later and sent him to an institution. How I saved myself, I still don't know. But some instinct told me that Lucifer was my real enemy. And when I destroyed the puppet, Arnold's sudden change was almost unbelievable. When he recovered consciousness, he lay on the floor staring. Until I summoned the authorities.
In the animal world, there is the hunter and the hunted, hound and fox, hawk and sparrow, chicken and worm. But who is to judge precisely which is the pursuer or the pursued as we enter the chase? The Chase was created and written for the National Broadcasting Company by Lawrence Clee. Heard in the cast were Ann Petoniak, Leon Janney, and Lloyd Buckner. The Chase is directed and transcribed by Fred Way. Fred Collins speaking. Next week, a company of thieves plan $1 million robbery, but find themselves pursued by a fate even more ominous than the law in The Chase.
Attend the coronation Tuesday on NBC.